What's going on, everybody? First, I want to thank you for an absolutely overwhelming response. Within 5 hours of putting this out and emailing it, I had 6 commitments immediately out of, I think, 10 invitations, and I've yet to hear back from the other 4. So we'll see where that goes, but we've already filled in a lot of the crucial roles, and we have huge support from amazing people. You guys. Okay, so what I wanted to do today was clarify a few very specific concepts to you so that we can all kind of be on the same page about where this project might fit in the larger niche of marketing. Like, what actual tasks and goals can this be aimed at, right? Okay, well, let me start here, and this is going to be my reference point, right? So I know if it may be distracting, don't worry about it. I'll use illustrations down here at the bottom. But let me get back on track here. This can, I think, serve a very specific role, okay? Because there's some things out there that are really similar. For instance, Mythbusters. Mythbusters does a lot of what we're going to do, teaching people about sciences and how you can use them to do really cool things, right? But Mythbusters, if you haven't noticed, primarily focuses on two subject matters, okay? They do a lot of mechanical engineering, right? And they do a lot of physics. Well, I don't know why I did 2 to 1, but okay, let's go. Mechanical engineering and physics, right? So, what I want to do is make something that encompasses a more broad range of scientific disciplines, okay? You're completely missing out on things like the social sciences, a lot of maybe biology and chemistry, and while Mythbusters does go into a little bit of that, it often doesn't highlight that as a feature, okay? So that's where I think this is different than some of the already scientific related pushes out there and movements. And on that, I want to jump directly into what I think a good definition of science is for this. Now, Dustin, you and I had corresponded briefly last night, and you got me thinking that it'd be really good to kind of clarify what science is in our eyes and how it can be used and modeled and pushed into the world through our perspective, right? Okay, so I want to use something called Hansonian philosophy to introduce my version of science to you guys. Professor James Hansen is a professor at Oakland University in the counseling department. He's also a clinical psychologist, so he's a counselor and a clinical psychologist, and he's also one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. Okay, and he's got a really cool definition of science that I think is really palatable to everybody, no matter what your fundamental belief systems are. And here's how it goes. Science, as we know it, is a tool. It's just a perceptual tool, one of many in the toolbox of the human experience, right? Okay, and I want to demonstrate this to you in a drawing, okay? Now, remember, I am really bad at drawing, okay, so it's going to be crude at first, but bear with me. Okay, so let's think maybe somebody in the 1500s, and they're angry. They're angry because the kingdom overlords in Europe, they've gone ahead and taxed the heck out of them, and they're starving while all of the wonderful elites on top are thriving, right? Okay, so the peasants are really mad. Here's our castle over here, my crude drawing of the castle, thank you. And here's our peasants. Our peasants are over here, and the peasants, let's say these are pretty well armed peasants. For some reason they have catapults, okay? These peasants are the most amazingly advanced peasants of all time, and they have, well, it's backwards, okay, they have catapults, and they're flinging rocks, right? And they're throwing them, and they're throwing them, and they're smacking them for the most part. But what the peasants don't have at this time is a way to really accurately predict, wow, it's not very dark, not a very accurate way to predict where the projectiles are going to land, right? Okay, so they're probably sitting around a campfire one night. I don't know where I'm going to put that. They're probably just sitting around a burning campfire one night here, right? Or somehow, some lazy day just thinking about stuff. That's what I think of, right? And it occurs to them that maybe if they pull it back at the same spot every single time, that it'll probably go to the same spot, right? And so they test it. And they shoot that sucker, I don't know, 10 times. And for the most part, it's relatively stable. and they got this big cluster, right? So one of them probably thought to themselves, how can I figure out to express this in some easier way so that I can teach others to use this to get more accurate catapult projections, right? So what maybe happened somewhere along the line, somebody said, you know, if I had kind of an average of where those things landed within that circle, that number, whatever that number may be, the distance, that could possibly represent the length of where it's going to go at this specific point at which it's pulled back, okay? So, I know this is a relatively crude example, and the development of the catapult and catapult science probably didn't happen this way. But I think if you followed me, you can see that science in this case was nothing more than a tool to solve a problem. They needed a more accurate catapult, right? And so they designed a new math, in my case, statistics, to figure that out, okay? In reality, statistics was actually developed around 1900s, and it was designed for, believe it or not, the production of beer. Yeah, they needed a way to make sure that they could reasonably reproduce the seeds, right? Because when you're breeding hops, you need to make sure that the hops are going to be consistent, right? So they needed to come up with the method of standard deviations and to find means so that they could get a relatively stable crop going, so that they could actually track how stable the flavors and everything was. So that was actually probably the development of statistics right there. Very interesting for all you beer fans out there. Okay, let's see. Catapult thing, let me get back on track here. Where are we? Catapult analogy. Okay, done with that. That's kind of what I see our basic scientific definition being. Nothing more than a way to problem solve, right? Again, a very palatable definition. It doesn't intrinsically encroach on anybody's rights, and that's the whole point of this mission. The whole point is to empower people, not to give them something that can be used to later judge others, right? So this is what I want to do. I want to keep that definition, at least the definitional spirit alive, that science is nothing more than a perceptual tool that we use to help us solve problems, and that's it. That's all it is. It does not equate to the ultimate truths or anything like that. All it is a way to fundamentally view the world for us to solve things in it. And that's it. Okay, moving quickly on. What I need from you guys, I need you guys to make a Gmail and a YouTube account that's linked. Fortunately, nowadays, it's really easy to do that because Google bought YouTube, and so you can actually directly tie the accounts. But I need you to make new ones. And the reason I need you to make new ones is I want you to put a tag before it of ETM, Estus Team Member. The reason I want you to do this is going to be really important in the future when people start commenting, or if anybody has interest on the forum sites, including on YouTube comments and stuff like that. It's going to be really important for you guys to be able to identify yourselves as an Estus Team Member, right? Okay, and so that's going to be a way for that, for you guys to identify yourselves. The other thing I wanted to make kind of clarify right now is that consistency is going to be really key for marketing, right? So that hashtag, that tag right there, that can serve as kind of a well-rounded way for you to be identified in the community as an Estus Team Member. Myself, and I say you, I mean everybody, we. So, speaking of, I'm really jumbled here. Thinking on the theme of consistency, that's why I'd like you to do that. Okay. Also, if you can get a LinkedIn profile, if you don't have one already going, that would be absolutely crucial to this task too, because I want you to be able to join us on the LinkedIn group as well. Again, that kind of follows the whole theme of consistency linked to the ETM tag. So, the ETM tag, just to clarify for you guys, all I want you to do is put ETM in capital letters with a period and then your name after it. That's it. So, not this huge jumbled thing, just ETM dot your name, full name. Okay, that's it. All right. Use the comment section below after you have created your YouTube account to ask me for further questions. I want to set this up as our business model to let YouTube be our primary way to communicate with each other. So we have this really free, awesome forum that we can use to make videos which can condense a lot of information relatively quickly and be dispersed to all of us team members simultaneously. Jumping directly into that, I want to emphasize that this is a collaborative project. I kind of maybe designed the original theory for this and what it can be and what it can be evolved into. But that doesn't mean that throughout the project that I'm going to have the best ideas for it and how to evolve it, right, as each new area that we explore, try and expand it in comes up. So with that in mind and taking ego out of the equation, I want to set up an environment, a collaborative, cohesive environment for us in which ideas are very easily presented in an orderly fashion so that we can all look at it, pick them apart, and then together decide what's going to be the best courses of action. One person can do a lot, okay? One person that has really good skills can do a lot of good. Together, good people can do excellent things. They can do extraordinary things. And that's what I want this project to be about as well. Collaboration. Okay guys, that's all I got for you right now. Thank you very much for your time. And again, unbelievable responses, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future.